Last time on Backtalk with Cripple3030.
Worry about it. I could tell that they telling me don't worry about it. They're like, yo, we're gonna get you over here.
So now the window, just so
Right.
they could understand, right? Like the door.
The door, and
You got the door,
window,
and then you got a big,
little,
large plastic window that
right.
you could actually see the other side of the door, right? And then you was talking to your friends in the other side,
and then
right
next to that, each side has the TV room where you used to eat your chow.
Right.
Right, because we never went out.
Right.
Once
you
in a
used to
while.
eat inside,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I was in there.
Yeah.
So now, after you told your friends, then you made some moves so you can get on that side.
So I told my boy, I say, yo, everybody from the block is on the other side. You want to go?
This Cripple3030, you hear Backtalk Cripple3030. We interviewing Alfred Brodie, aka Neals. Thank you for coming through, man.
Pleasure to be here, brother.
Before I go into the interview, I want to give him a little small synopsis of about you. Can you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself?
My name is Alfred Brodie. I was born in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, New York, and I did 33 years in prison at a very young age of 21. And I'm here today to give you a little insight of where I was and where I am today, as far as an individual living my life today.
All right. So now, you did a lot of jail time, right?
Yes, sir.
How many times you was locked up?
I was locked up twice. Once at the age of 16, and then I came home and I went back at the age of 21.
When you was incarcerated, do you remember the first time you was incarcerated?
Yes.
All right. During your first time of being incarcerated, right? I'm trying to give the viewers a vivid image of what it's like to be incarcerated, right? And what happens in there, right? So first of all, just to give them a little background, right? About what year were you incarcerated the first time?
The first time I was incarcerated at the age of 16, it was in 1974.
1974. So how did it feel to be in jail at that time? What was it like?
At that time, I was 16, and I'll be honest with you, I was afraid. Because back then, it was the rumor that, when you were young, it was like a lot of booty bandits in there.
Right.
So to be honest with you, I was a little scared because this is my first time in prison. And but thank God that my mother, after being there for 2 months, my mom's hit a number and she bailed me out. So that's what saved me from being in there a long time.
Right.
I got out after 2 months, and then 6 months I was going back and forth to court, and eventually I took a plea to attempt robbery, and I received a sentence of 0 to 3 years, and I went upstate to a medium.
Was it as bad as they was talking about?
When the medium, it wasn't that bad, but when I was on Rikers Island, it was kind of bad. You had to fight for your sneakers. When you coming in, everybody looking you up and down, trying to figure out what they're going to take from you. I was young.
Right.
As you can see, I ain't weigh that much. You know what I'm saying? I was a real skinny dude, and I weighed less than I weigh now. So, you basically had to fight for what you had, and you couldn't drop the soap in the shower. That was one of the things they talked about back then, too. Don't drop your soap in the shower. And, and I'll be honest, I was afraid. I was 16. I was afraid.
So you pretty much had to set your reputation straight so that way they won't come and try to mess with you.
Back then, it was the thing they called 52. The 52 boxing, all that slapping, dropping to the knees and stuff like that. So I had to learn how to fight. And I had dudes teaching me, because I was young, teaching me how to fight, the block punches and stuff. I lost a lot of fights, so I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to say I was all this and that, but that was a part of learning the experience of being in prison.
Right.
You win some, you lose some, but the main thing that I'll tell anybody, you got to go in there and fight, because if you don't fight, they're going to take advantage of you, whether you win or lose. So I lost some, but I showed that I was able to protect my own and fight for what I felt that was rightfully mine.
Well, I mean, and then it's already a known fact that when bullies, they like to take it easy, right? So if you're gonna be fighting all the time for your stuff, eventually the bullies back off, and they say, oh, you know what? We're gonna calm down a little bit. We're gonna concentrate on the weaker guys, the ones that don't fight, right? So now, as you went along in your bid, because this is your first bid. You said you were there
first bid,
twice,
yeah,
right?
my first bid.
Now, in your first bid, before you got locked up, you said you was hearing all these stories about how it is in prison and so on and so forth. So now, once you went to Rikers Island, you said it wasn't it wasn't the way they was talking about, but it was still bad because you had to fight for your stuff. You had to fight for your reputation.
Let me just interrupt you right quick. Back then in C-74, it was 2 men in the cell. You know,
okay.
Yeah, it wasn't no one in the cell. In 1974, I went there in 1974, November, I think the 3rd or the 4th, around election time, I got arrested for attempt robbery. And they put me in a cell with an older gentleman, a Spanish dude. He was older than me. I was just 16. And right off the top, as soon as they put me in and they closed the door, he was on the bottom bunk. And he got up and he looked at me. He said, yo, you got up top bunk. So I looked at him, I said, damn, it's just what I always heard about. You know, so I kept an eye on him. I'm not gonna lie. And they know to use the toilet. The toilet was right in the cell. Both of us had to use the bathroom at the same time. He would go, then I would go. So I kept my eye on him. Plus I was young. And I ain't hard, as now, I don't hardly got no hair on my face. I ain't had no hair on my face or nothing. So I was afraid. I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, but I thank God, after 2 months, my mom's hit the number, boom, came and got me.
You know what's funny is that even after everybody that I interviewed, I never knew that they had 2-man cells back then.
Yep, 2 men. In 1974, anybody look it up, it was 2 men put in the cell.
And then on top of that, I want to highlight that you was 16 years old.
16.
But you was inside a cell with an adult?
I don't know what age he was, but I know he was older than me because I ain't really keep track of, but he was older than me back then. It was a Latin Spanish guy, he was older than me, and I kept my eye on him while I was in that cell.
But it made you think that all the stories you heard was the
true.
real thing, right?
And I done saw things in there too. I heard dudes screaming, you know, dudes getting molested and stuff. Yeah. And so I said, man, I got to make sure I fight for mine later for that. I got to fight, man. You know, because ain't nobody doing nothing to me, and I'm just going to sit there and accept it. I'm going to have to fight, win or lose.
During your 3 years, were you able to get any programming?
During the 3 years I was in there, they sent me to a medium. Because I was young, they sent me to Camp Summit. At the Camp Summit, I had a fight with somebody. Then they sent me to Camp Monterey. Then at the Camp Monterey, I got another fight. Then they sent me behind a wall. Then I was in Kaksaki.
Meaning that they sent you to a maximum
I was in the cell. Yeah, before in the
medium. First, you was in the minimum classification.
Where they had bunk beds. Right. You know, everybody off.
It was a dorm.
It was a dorm. One bed here, another bed there. But then I went to a max, which was Kaksaki, and I'm in the cell. So I'm going to be honest, I felt better in the cell.
It was safer.
Yeah. I felt better in the cell because now the door closed. I ain't got to worry about nobody. I mean, I got the toilet. I could use privacy without worrying about somebody in the cell with me. So I felt good.
About what year is this?
It was like, all right, I had my number was 75B502. I still remember my number today. 75B502. I went up north and I came home in 76. No, April the 28th, 76. That's when I came home. I did about maybe 13 or 14 months because I had a zip trade.
I wanna highlight something you just said. You still remember your identification number today?
Yeah, because that was like, that's who you was. You was a number. And right now I'm 60 years old. And I still remember my number from at the age of 16.
It's so ironic that I can still remember my number. My number was 94A1656. Like off the top of the head, I could state
without
that.
even thinking about it, you know
I
that
could
because they
state my
identify
Rikers
you as
Island
that.
number, 241-92-14138. Like off the top of the head, I could do that. Now, the fact that you could remember it from back in 1975, it just highlights the fact that the system, the way it's set up, is that it's like they erase you. When you first get there, it's like you're no longer Alfred Brodie. Now you are 75B502. You know what I'm saying? And it's like it gets ingrained so much in you that you use that number so much that you need it for every little thing to classify you, that you actually memorize it all these years later.
See that decades later.
Right.
Decades, not years, decades.
That's why I wanted to highlight that, because it's so ironic to me, because I always say it, but then, you know, what you said is true, that you actually memorize it. Like, it becomes ingrained in your head.
It was a part of me. It was a part of me. Every time you hear, Brodie, what's your number? 75B502.
And I want to ask you something, right? And this is going to sound funny, right? Can you remember your phone number from back then?
Not a little bit. I think my phone number was 455-1865, if I ain't mistaken, yeah.
Right, but you're not absolutely
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about
but
that.
you can guarantee on your life that that's 75B 502.
That was my state number when I came up state.
But you see what I'm saying? Like you can't memorize your phone number, right? Which is the number that you actually need to survive in the streets. Like if you need to call your mom at 16 years old, right? You got to call your parents, right? That's the number you can call.
I can't remember that.
You can't remember that. But you can remember. And it's ingrained in your head.
Prison number.
Your prison number.
Yeah,
it's like they erase.
You really think about that, yeah. You think about it, yep. It's
so
crazy.
now that you was incarcerated doing 3 years, right? You went to Kasaki. How was your experience in Kasaki? Explain your first day.
All right. In Kasaki, when I went to Kasaki, what they did, they put me on a farm. You know, I was working on a farm. You know, we used to like shovel horse manure. You know, and I used to drive the tractor. We used to transfer from here to there. Kasaki was pretty cool. You know, not to say that I'm glorifying prison, but it felt better than being in a medium. You know, as far as, you know, I had to sleep in the area where it was a bed next to me. I felt, when the doors closed, I felt safe. You know, I stood in there I think I stood in there for like maybe 4 or 5 months. Then I was granted parole. I went home. I came home.
So now, well, you was there for 4 or 5 months. You went home.
76, I came home.
And then you came through for your second bid.
Oh, man, talk about my second bid. I came home, went back to the neighborhood. I always liked the dress, right? Since I was young. That's what got me into the criminal lifestyle. So when I came home in 76, you know, I was like, man, what I'm going to do? So I'll be honest, I got back into the street life. Started sticking up, doing dumb stuff. All right, 76, 77, 78, 79. Then the beginning of 80, January the 4th, 1980, boom, right back in prison with a homicide.
So hold on. So how old were you when you came home for your first bid?
I came home, I was 17 years old.
And at 17 years old, you came home. Did they send you home with a GED?
No, I didn't get no GED. You know, I was in the school, but I didn't really, I ain't really was too much in, because I was still young. I was like, man, lady for school. You know, they had me going, but I ain't really try to get no GED or nothing. I was just in there messing around, playing basketball, hitting the punching bag, walking around the yard, lifting weights. They made me go to school because I was young, but I ain't even accomplished to get no GED. And that's another thing which I regret too, because I came back out into society and no GED, and I wasn't really thinking about no job again too. And I just got right back into the criminal lifestyle.
So you were still actually in high school when you was released,
Yeah,
right?
I was, yes.
You went back to high school?
I went to night school. I was going to night school. They forced me to go to night school, my PO. I was going, but I ain't really take it serious. I was just going to make it look good till I got off parole. And then once I got off parole, later for that.
In 1980, you get locked up again.
January the 4th. I still remember that day too. Certain days you never forget.
And you went to Rikers Island, right?
No, I was at the age of 21 at this time, so I went to the Brooklyn House of Detention.
Okay.
You know, that Rikers Island was for younger people. Once you're 21, you go to like the Brooklyn House, because they got a detention in Brooklyn. I went there at the age of 21, right? And I went to trial, blue trial, got 27 to life.
How was the experience at the Brooklyn House Detention compared to your
the Brooklyn House Detention? Because now it's much older.
Right.
You see, when I was 16, my first time in there, nervous.
Right.
Now I know what it was like.
Right.
I came in like with my chest out. Yeah. I know this. I know what I got to do.
Right.
As soon as I came in there, right off the top, on the phone, a dude told me, yo, you got to get off the phone. So I knew what I had to do right then and there.
Right.
I said, yeah, I'm old and I know. So I started fighting the dude. They took me off the 7th floor and they put me on the 8th floor. When I got on the 8th floor, all my people was up there. I said, yeah. Now, the same thing that I went through with the guy on the 7th floor, from just coming in and telling me to get off the phone, now I'm on the 8th floor. I'm doing this now.
Right.
People coming, yo, get off the phone, man. Yo, you got to pay to use the phone. Now I'm doing stuff that was done to me before when I first came in. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm a part of trying to, like, as you could say, like, take advantage of people coming in.
Right.
Yeah, I was doing that. I'm going to be honest with you.
Right.
Yo, get off the phone. I was running the phone. Yo, you got 5 minutes. Yo, you going to visit today? All right, if you going to visit, you will get on a phone call. Make sure you bring something back. Right. I was doing stuff like that. You know?
And by bringing something back, you mean bringing something from the visit, right?
Yeah, something from the visit. Contraband. I'll bring contraband back. Now you can stay on the phone. Tell your girl, hello, come up later on.
Because that made your bid a little bit smoother, right?
More than smoother.
That becomes money, right?
Money.
That becomes where you could get something to eat.
And that becomes also a form of escape. It was like a form of escape. You follow what I'm saying?
Right. So in other words, you're not in jail no more.
Yeah,
like, your mind could be back in the street.
Back in the street. So I was living a type of lifestyle like that, and I knew I was facing a murder rap. So I said, yeah, I'm probably gonna go upstate and never come home, because I didn't have no money to get no lawyer.
Right.
I had the 18 Bs. 18 Bs is like a public offender, and they basically working for the DA in the state. I'm not paying them, so I knew I was gonna probably blow trial, and I did.
So you went to trial and you blew.
I went to trial.
So now, my question is, while you was fighting your case, were you more focused on what was going on in the Brooklyn Detention Center, meaning as far as in your dorm or your cell block or whatever, or were you more focused on fighting your case?
Be honest with you, I was more focused on what was going on in the Brooklyn Detention. To be honest with you, I'm ashamed to say that now, and I thank God that he gave me another chance at life and I'm back out here, but I was more focused on what was going on in there. Yo, who's getting this, who's doing this, working out, just doing stuff that, as far as I was brainwashing and thinking that this was the end for me, this was my destiny, prison. So I just lived the prison life. Yeah, I ain't never coming home. That's what I thought.
Already in your mind,
it was already in my mind. I'm gonna be honest, that's what was in my mind. I'm not gonna sugarcoat nothing. Like, yo, but I regret it now, because as I got older and I started looking at my case, the transcripts, I could have beat it. It was a lot of stuff in my case that I went upstate and I met dudes that was good with that law, and I showed them my stuff. They said, man, you shouldn't even be in here for this. Man, look at the case is weak, whatever. And I was like, man, but it was too late.
We'll be back with more from our guests when we return. Don't go anywhere.
Next case.
The People versus Martin White. Mr. White has been charged with...
Guilty. Next case.
But Your Honor, you haven't heard the charges yet.
Guilty. Next case. Guilty. I've been prison. Guilty. Next case.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
So everything that's going on around you in Brooklyn Detention Center, right? At the time that you was facing your trial, do you think that was a distraction for you from actually focusing on your case and possibly beating it?
Yeah, I feel it was a distraction, but however, I'm not going to use it as saying it's a distraction. It was my choice. I wanted to do this. You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
I was cause like I said, I ain't really had too much school and education, so I said, I'm not going to no law library, which I regret to this day. Right. I said, lady, I'm just going to just live the la vida loca, just live crazy in here, do what I got to do to survive, and that's it.
But on another note, right, this is something that just occurred to me. On another note, of course you chose to get involved in that, right? Everybody makes their own choice.
Own choice, that's right. I'm
that
not going to sugarcoat, that was my choice.
Right, but if that wasn't the lifestyle, then, for example, if it was easier to use the phone, if it was easier to watch TV, if it was easier to get that extra box of Frosties in the morning or whatever it is, right? Do you think that maybe your mind would have been able to relax a little bit more?
Yeah, I do.
So you could say, you know what, maybe I'll go to law library. Maybe somebody could actually tell me so I can actually focus on what my lawyer's saying or what's going on.
Yeah, you make a good point there. And I do believe that if I wasn't in that type of environment where I saw that you got to live a certain type of way to get the respect,
right,
I probably would have been like, yeah, let me go focus on this. However, because I saw the type of environment I was in, like wolves, and it was sheeps,
right.
The wolves was attacking the sheep, I said, I'm going to be a wolf later with that. I want to live in here, get respect and everything. I'm going to do what I got to do.
Because automatically you was given that choice. Because just from going in the doors, you're given that choice. Either you be a sheep or a herb or whatever you want to call it,
be the prey.
or you be a wolf, and you say, you know what, I'm gonna focus on, you know, I'm gonna pray off of the sheep, right?
That's
because
right.
you only have two.
That's right.
Right?
That's
You
right.
might have a midpoint at some point. I guess you got some that fly through the middle, but even them, they pray at some point if they don't want to, if they don't want to get preyed upon.
That's right.
Right? Because at some point they gotta show some type of dominance. So that way the wolves, the real wolves,
somebody
won't come take
one thing about prison, somebody's always going to try you.
Right.
You know, because you got to get, when you're in prison, everybody thinking they tough. Because everybody, you got dudes from the Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, and everybody's thinking they tough. However, you know, what you got to do is prove to them that, yo, I'm tougher than you. You know what I'm saying? You bring it to me, I bring it to you. And I had fights and I lost. You know, I got stab wounds, slice wounds. I've been through it all. So I can say that, you know, I lived it and I survived it, and now I'm here today to tell my story.
So now, let me ask you a question. If, picturing back to the Brooklyn Detention Center, right? Of course you chose to be the wolf, right? Because you didn't want to be the sheep, right? And you made that choice on your own as a man. However, the cards were stacked against you for the jump. That's like saying, okay, well, either you're gonna choose a gun or you're gonna choose a knife, right? Basically, that's what they're telling you. Either you're gonna choose a knife or you're gonna choose a gun, right? And no matter what, you're wrong, no matter what you choose, right? But I just limited your choices to just these two. How about the one where you say, you know what, put the weapons to the side, right? And just go focus on your case. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now my question is, you know that the ratio to the guards was always 1 to maybe 30 prisoners?
Yeah,
30
it was always
inmates?
less guards and prisoners.
So now, let's say if it was a little different, right? Let's say the guards were actually doing their job, first of all, right? Because we all know that the guards, a lot of the guards are corrupt, right? But let's say that they was actually doing their job, right? They was legitimately doing their job the way it was set to be, and protecting people and making sure that they run right and, you know, everything's going good.
Oh, that's a good
But
thing.
instead of one guard per 30 prisoners, let's say you had 5. Do you think it would have been a little bit more relaxed?
I feel it would have been more controllable as far as, you know, them making sure things not being done, you know, but like the guards, they'd be behind the gate, you know, and we all back here, and they be sitting in the booth, just laying down, talking on the phone, while we could be upstairs fighting,
right,
sharpening up shanks on the floor, you know, taking metal, breaking it off the light ceilings, taking a lighter, burning it so the metal could get heated up and scrubbing, you know, and they downstairs, they not even caring. However, like what you said, if it was about like 5 guards coming around patrolling, none of that would be happening.
Maybe.
It could stop a lot of stuff that's going on in there, but it's not like that.
Maybe you wouldn't be forced to become a wolf. Right?
True.
Maybe you would have been able to say, you know what, I'm not going to let nobody
let
play
sit
me.
back and go,
but I'm going to go to the little library. I'm going to go learn this so that way I won't get out.
So I can try to get out. Yeah, you're right.
I can get out of jail. All right. So now, you went to trial. How long was your trial?
My trial, let me see, I went to trial blowing first. My trial was about like 7 days or something. Short trial, 7 days.
So how long you was in Brooklyn detention?
I was in Brooklyn House for about like 18 months. For 18 months.
So
yeah, going back and forth to court.
For 18 months you was going back and forth to court.
Postponement, going to bullpen therapy, getting the cold sandwiches and the tea, everything, just sitting there, everybody talking about their case, then the lawyer's not showing up. That's another thing that I want to speak on. They got that bullpen therapy designed so a person could cop out. You follow what I'm saying? Because they keep bringing you back and forth to court, and you're not seeing nobody. And then you're on the bus going back, yo, what happened, man? I ain't even seen my lawyer. Man, they should have kept me in the Brooklyn. I came over here for nothing. So I feel that's a psychologically set up to keep bringing you there. So instead of them spending money on the trial, let's keep them going there, take the plea. And they offered me a plea too.
Well, I honestly, me personally, I don't, just me, my opinion, I don't think it has anything with spending money in the trial. I think that it's just about you copping out.
Yeah, they want you to cop out.
Because if you cop out, then you do time.
And they save money.
Right? They have so many inmates, right, or prisoners, that actually get time and are either innocent or they wasn't guilty of those charges that they was being charged with. But yet they still cop out because they're tired of going back and forth to court and going through that same choices that you did right? You chose to be the wolf. But some of them ain't built like that. Some of them are not that tough. So some of them get caught up in that sheep. So they're tired of being the sheep. So they hear about this promised land, right? Upstate, right? Up north is the promised land, right? Yeah. That's a little bit lighter, right? Like, wait a minute, up there's not like down here.
Yeah, different.
Right?
The police they don't playing up there.
Right. They're more controlled up there, right? There's a little bit more security up there. I can stay in my cell up there. I don't have to worry about, you know what I'm saying, nobody doing nothing to me. So you know what? I'm gonna take these 5 or 10 years. Yeah, I could have won my trial. Yeah, I was innocent, but I'm tired of being bullied. I'm tired of going through this. So I'm gonna go up to the promised land, all right, upstate, and I'm gonna do my time, you know, relax. So maybe I could get out. Because in here, you know what I'm saying, they might be scared of getting killed. So, you know what I'm saying, anything might happen. So now, at the 18 months, you're going through the boot pen therapy, right? That's actually something I never really spoke about, but is a fact. The fact is that when you spoke to your lawyer, did they ever tell you anything that made you believe that they thought you were innocent?
I'm gonna be honest. My lawyer told me to cop out, and I knew that's what they want everybody to do. And I was like, man, I'm not copping out, you know. And I could have got 10 to 20, you know, for that case. But at the age of 21, counting 10 years on my fingers, I said, man, I'm gonna be 30, 31 years old. I said, man, and getting back to my case, I didn't get caught at the scene of the crime. I got caught like months later, and a body fell on me. I was in jail for something else, for robbery. They said, oh, we wanted you for this homicide that happened in so-and-so. And I was like, damn, I started thinking. I said, oh, shit. And so I said, man, they ain't catch me at the scene of this crime. I'm going to try to fight it.
Right.
However, me not having no money, the resources to get investigators, you know, this is how the DA get everybody. They got all the resources in the world. They got the police department, and they got their little private investigator. Me, I ain't had no money for that.
But this is something that the lawyer is supposed to cover.
Yeah, you're right. You hit it right on the nose. Right. But they don't even try to tell you, I'm going to get you in. They don't do none of that shit because in my eyes, like they working with the state because you're not paying them. And every conviction they get, I heard they probably get some type of money or whatever because they help the DA get, they be like, yo, let me get this one right. Let me get Brodie, and I give you the other one. Because I saw some people that was in jail with me, and they had mad bodies. I said, man, how you beat that? They had that money.
Well, the
money
way,
talk, you know that.
The way it works with the lawyers is there's actually a law, right, that once they pass that bar exam, that they have to do a certain amount of hours as pro bono.
Okay,
right?
for free.
For free. They have to take cases for free. It's a certain amount. They have to do a minimum amount every year. That's why they was called AT&B lawyers, right? These are actually great lawyers or good lawyers that have experience, but they have to take these cases for free. The flip side of it is that since they're doing your case for free, what they're thinking in their mind is, damn, I'm wasting these hours with this free client. Meanwhile, I got this other client willing to pay me $20,000 to cover him or his case, and I could have been doing that right now. So guess what, Mr. Brodie, I need you to cop out so that I can go and get this client that paid me that $20,000, right? Now, officially, they're not supposed to do that, right? Because they're supposed to be officers of the court, right? So they would never admit to you that that's what they're doing, right? So what do? Oh, listen, do you really want to go back and forth to court all this time? It's been 18 months. You really want to keep going through what's going on in there? Especially if you're a client that's on the sheep side, right? Because then you start to notice the eye jammies, you start to notice the broken noses.
The lawyer see them, say, man, they beat you up over there.
He has the holy clothes, right? And then be like, yo, like, come on, if you cop out, you go to the promised land, right? You go up to upstate, you go up north, you do your time, you gotta deal with all that stuff down there, you stop doing this, right? So that's what ends up happening, right? Or you actually get them lawyers that say, you know what, don't even tell me don't tell me nothing about your crime, because then if you get on the stand, I can't question you, because then I'll be suborning perjury, right? Because they're automatically assuming that you're guilty, right? From the jump.
Off the top.
Like, they didn't hear nothing from you yet, but they assume that these are the kind of lawyers that you come across when you don't have the money.
You have the money.
Right? So now, my question is, if the lawyers actually had the resources, right, to put, and the willingness, not just the resources, but the willingness to put the investigators to actually go out there and get your witnesses together, to actually go out there and
canvass the area, and find
the
out
area,
everybody, yes.
get the videotapes, get
Everything,
the affidavits
They
from
don't
the
do that.
witnesses. These are actually, if you paid them, this is actually what they would have done. So now my thing is, what I would tell the legislators, right, and the government officials that actually make these laws is that if you're going to require somebody that is destitute, right, has no money, to get a free lawyer at the expense of the state, that they should also
provide them
all these other resources, because it would level their defense compared to those who have the money.
Level the playing field against the district attorney.
Because as you said, is the truth. District attorney can actually use the police. They can use private investigators. They have a budget. They have all this stuff. They have the right to send the police in and tell a convenience store owner, listen, we want that videotape. You cannot erase that. We want that. We're going to take that from you. They have that resource. Meanwhile, a lawyer that has no budget may not, they can't do it. Legally, they can't do it.
And it could be somebody that can help me.
Right.
Follow what I'm saying? But yet, being that I got the type of lawyer that's not going to put the work in to do this because maybe they're not giving enough money to get me an investigator or whatever. I don't know what the case may be. Things like this can help me out. But for me not getting this type of help,
Right. So
I'm for myself. I got to either cop out or go to trial.
That might be something to actually think about or maybe suggest to individuals if they was listening, like Jay-Z, Meek Mills, and all these that are doing justice reform and all of that.
Yeah, I heard about
as
that.
a form of actually helping out that.
And enact some type of legislation or measure to do that, to provide that for defendants
to provide a level
that
of
are
field,
indigent.
Right, for the people that are indigent. And then maybe those people that are innocent wouldn't have to be locked up. But what we're going to do is we're going to go to a quick break. After we come back, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what occurred after you went, you do blue trial.
Okay.
And you went up north.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to hit the quick break. We'll be back with more from our guests when we return. Don't go anywhere.
And now for a highlight on a local Bronx business.
This is Cripple3030. I'm about to go in here to 604 East 141st Street and speak to the director of Graffiti 2 Ministries. Talk about all the programs that they service the community with.
My name is Andrew Mann. I'm the director of Graffiti 2 Community Ministries and the pastor of Graffiti 2 Baptist Church. We've been serving the Mott Haven neighborhood of the South Bronx for about 14 years now. We serve the community through programs for kids, teenagers, families. We have after-school programs for kids and teenagers, summer programs like sports camps, football, baseball, tennis, soccer. We provide positive activities for the kids to be plugged in. And in all those programs, we really work on growing students holistically, hopefully serving them mind, body, and soul.
For more on this Bronx-based organization and its programs, go to graffiti2ministries.org. How you doing? In case you missed it, we was in the middle of an interview. This Cripple3030 was in the middle of an interview with Alfred Brodie, aka Neals, right here on Backtalk with Cripple3030. Now, before the break, what we was talking about was the fact of that the field is not leveled with indigent clients as opposed to clients that can actually afford to pay for their attorneys when they're actually facing a conviction, right? And they're trying to fight to, erase,
clear themselves for the charges that they're facing.
So now, in your case, you actually went to trial, you blew trial. They obviously they didn't provide the kind of resources that they needed to be able to provide you with the evidence and so on and so forth that will help you beat your trial, which was found out later, right?
I went upstairs,
as you was
saw
researching.
my transcripts.
So now, when you blew trial, where did you go from there?
When I blew trial, they had just opened downstate. It was kind of relatively new. I was in downstate, And then when I was in downstate, even though the judge gave me 27 to life, it didn't sink in until I was in downstate. So I'm in downstate. This is when they give you all your paperwork.
Right.
So this black CO, he came to the door of my cell. He said, "Mr. Brodie, come here." So I get up. And then he said, "There go your paperwork." He slid under the door. And then he made a joke. You know, he looked at me and he said, "Yo, you go to board in 2006. He said, "You know what? When you go to parole board, they're going to have spaceships." So I took the paper and I sat down on my, mind you, I'm like 21 years old, just turning 22. Year? There was I blew trial in 1981, and I went upstate July 81. So around that time, around the summer of 81,
right,
I sat on my bed and I actually saw when I go to the board, it said 2006. So I started counting. I said, "Oh man, I'll be 48
and
years old."
That's for your first parole board?
Yeah, my first parole board. I said, "I'm gonna be 48 years old." And I really believed. I said, "Man, the world gonna be end by then." I really believed that. I said, "Oh man." And it sunk into me. I said, "Man, I gotta do all this time." So now, check this out. Now I said, well, I gotta get in that law library. This when the law library really sank into me, but it should have sank in the beginning when I first got arrested. You know, because I could have been able to put more stuff into the minutes, into the transcripts to show that, could bring me back down. Because that's the whole thing about appeals. I learned that when I went upstate, I got my legal certificate and everything, but I should have been did that. In 1984, I took the legal research course and I got a certificate. I graduated from the class. Then I started really looking at my stuff, my transcripts, and then older guys in the law library said, "Let me see your paperwork." I was hitting them off with those cigarettes. They was helping me out doing 440s and all that stuff, but to no avail, because a lot of this stuff, I didn't object to it. Not me per se, but my lawyer. Right. And you got to object to a lot of things in order for it to be recognized in the appellate division. Because they say he didn't preserve that issue. You got to preserve certain issues, but I didn't know about that. Right. I found out about it too late,
Well, the thing is that there's actually a saying, right? They said that ignorance of the law is no excuse.
No excuse, that's right.
The reason they say that is because they say that they have, the government meaning, and the people of society say that they make it available to everybody.
They do.
The problem is that no matter how much they make it available, if they don't guide you to the right place to find it, then how are you able to find it? You have lawyers that go to college, and they don't understand the law until after years of college, right? You could open a law book in front of you, and if you don't have a high education, then you won't even understand what the hell you're reading.
Some of the terminology is you got to really understand with certain, habeas corpus, different things like shepherdizing case. I learned all of that, but before I didn't know about that. Like the New York Digest. Right. With the keys, you look for the keys, say criminal, and the numbers. That's that's what my issue. Then you research it and find out, this dude got to be versatile in it. That's how. But like I said, they got to be able to direct. They should have it as soon as you get it, man, you go to the library. Right. They should have it they should really have a system like that. So then they could save the taxpayers a lot of money, because you got to keep about us being in prison. It's back then I know it was $30,000 to keep somebody in prison for I think a month, if I ain't mistaken. And they would rather take that money and put you in prison as opposed to putting you in school, giving you an education. Now, does that make sense?
You're right. Actually, that is something else to consider, because if they're trying to reform, they're doing prison reform, right? And the reason they're doing prison reform is because they have a lot of individuals locked up. Taxpayers are paying for a lot of individuals to be incarcerated. So right now we're in a deficit, right? The United States is in a deficit. The state is in a deficit. So what ends up happening is that if the more people that's incarcerated, the more money that they have to pay for these individuals.
And they got to allocate for that.
So now, and of course everybody worries about money, right? So you have the government that they worried about money. You have people in society that worried about money, right? You have businesses that are worried about money. So why not make it a requirement to go to the law library? Why not make it a requirement to go through a legal research course, right? When you first go to Rikers Island, you first go to Brooklyn Detention, you first go to Queens House, so,
Bronx,
right,
to anywhere.
Tombs,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? All of these places that they're still innocent before proven guilty, where they still have to face and fight their charges, why not give them a course where it would level them to at least understand,
level the playing field,
to understand what their lawyers are talking about? Because you can sit in front of a lawyer all day and he could tell you what's going on, and you still may not understand him, because his knowledge is
and
like
his schooling, because he went to school, yeah, than yours, because you into the streets.
Perfect example. We was talking about New York Digest, right?
Yeah, I was just saying New York Digest.
I'm a paralegal, right? I studied this, right? If you don't know about shepherdizing, if you don't know about the way laws update, you will read the New York Digest, which is what happened to me the first time. This is how I know. You read the New York Digest, you think, oh, that's the law. But then, if you read that little paragraph, that key, and you shepherdize it, you find out that was overturned.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Right. That's
no
longer
valid,
by
higher court. That's why you got to shepherdize, up to date it.
Right. You got to keep updating, right? But people don't know that, because they think that if it's in writing, it's official, right? That's what happened to me a lot of times in the beginning. I would read the New York Digest, or I would read a law book, and I say, that's the law.
That's my issue. Yeah.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah,
that's my.
Then you find out that it's been knocked down by a different.
And it was totally wiped out, right? Just that alone is so confusing. It's so complicated.
And then even the CPL, the statute CPL 310 point, all of that is like for a kid coming off the streets and into the streets, like, and not really having no education and seeing these books and looking at it. Hold on, man. It's like mind-boggling. That's why they should have it, but it's mandatory. As soon as you come in, listen, take your butt to the law library, learn about your case.
They should give them a legal
They should have
research
something
course.
like that.
I actually, when a person works in a law library, it's mandated that they pass a legal research course, right?
Yeah, I worked in the law library. I got my legal. I worked in Comstock Law Library, Clinton Law Library. I worked in law libraries when I got upstate.
And you have to do a legal research course.
Yeah, you got to do that.
So why not just open that? It's not like they don't have the program.
When you first come in.
It's not like the program doesn't exist. The program exists already. So why not just open it and make it a requirement to everybody who comes in?
That's a good.
Right?
That's a good point.
So
right
that would be real simple, right? You actually came up with that. All I did was expound on it.
Beautiful.
You know what I'm saying? So now, when you went upstate, right? You're in downstate. Now it hit you that you.
Yeah, when I got that paper, I was like, oh
man, you in there till the spaceships come out,
right?
Yeah,
that's what the CO told me. He was laughing too. I looked at this dude. I didn't want to say that to him because they was beating people up and down. So I said, I just sat on my bed and kept staring at that paper. And I started counting on my hand. I said, I'm gonna be 48 years old.
So now,
my first board, 48.
What prison did you go to first?
Okay, I went to Comstock. They call it Gladiator School.
What was your first experience?
All right, but in Comstock, I didn't really stay there. That was just like a point to where the next plantation I was gonna go. They just had you there where they look at your paperwork. All right. At the Comstock, I stayed there for like maybe 2 months because they were trying to figure out where they was gonna send everybody individually, and they shot me to Attica. That's the first max I've been in Attica. Where I heard about the ride in 71 and all that, the Attica ride, they sent me there. As soon as I got off the bus, know what the police said to everybody? Said, listen, you in Attica now, you're not on Rikers Island. We don't care what you do to each other. You touch one of us, we're gonna kill you. That's what they said. They had the big sticks. They was looking at us.
What year was this?
Oh, I went up there. Let me see. 81 is when I went upstate. I had an 81. Still remember my number, 81A 2760. Another number I remember. So I went, and let me see, July. I figured, probably like around maybe December or something, I made it to Attica.
We'll be back with more from our guests when we return. Don't go anywhere.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made this vacation happen.
Double points with every purchase?
Cleverly merging promotions.
I love it.
Cross-referencing travel sites. And booking all your flights with those...
vouchers. I got us bumped.
They were like, oh. But now they're like... Aloha. You aced this vacation. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
I got some Oxy after I hurt my neck. First, I took them to feel better. Then, I just kept taking them. I didn't know they'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
To Attica. Made to Attica around December.
In 81?
Yeah, 81, in Attica.
Now, I had a debate with somebody on Facebook about this, right? They said that this does not exist, that this doesn't happen, right? So just for confirmation, right? Did you hear about any tattoos that guards have?
Yeah, with the little black babies hanging from the rope. Yeah, I saw that. Okay. They wear their shirts short, but then when we used to complain about it, they'd cover their shirt, but then they'd be right back up here. The one you complained to is my brother, the sergeant. Yeah, so you see with black babies.
Describe the tattoo for me.
It was like a noose around a black baby head hanging off their arm. It's a tattoo that they wore, and it was like it was
hanging
like
from a tree.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, from a tree, and it was like something like. I figure like a gang. Them SEALs had a certain type of gang where some of them used to have that and they used to carry black gloves in their back pocket.
The black glove.
Yeah, the black glove, and that's all true. Cause I was in there in 81. That was true. Ain't no ifs or buts about that.
Because I had a debate.
I saw that.
I had a debate with a correction officer on Facebook that actually worked at Clinton. And
Clinton too. They had that at Clinton too.
And he claimed
them the main spots
and
they had it at.
He claimed that they would never allow them to work with a tattoo like that. That they would get fired. That does not exist.
See, as soon as you said it, I added on to the cipher.
That's
I know,
that's right.
You encouraged me to say. Right. I saw that myself. Okay. And they show you, they come out of your cell, and they go like this. Yeah, you think I'm playing? Look. You be all right. You got.
And just to highlight, these are Caucasian guards.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It wasn't only no black SEALs up there.
All right. So now, when you went to Attica, you actually came off the bus?
Yeah, they made that statement.
Listen, we don't care what you do.
Yeah, they say this ain't Rikers Island. We ain't playing up here. You know, just like that. They said, do your time. Don't mess with us. You be all right. And that was it.
So how did you feel inside?
Yo, at that moment, I said, well, I'm at Bigfoot country now. I gotta just observe everything. Cause that's the main. I was observing it. So I'm gonna tell you, back then, it was a lot of booty bandit stuff going on. Back in that days, like now, this would get me a little upset now. The way the kids are having their pants hanging off their butt. They try to say that extended from jail. That didn't extend it. That the rappers probably, they seen them on stage because if that extended from jail back then, something would have went up in you. You follow what I'm saying? That did not extend. Nobody back then was wearing their pants off their butt. That came around later on. So for them to say that started in prison, it didn't. Because I did 33 years in prison. You could say like I'm a veteran in that prison. I saw it from the beginning, from the age of 21 to 54. That's when I came home. I went in 21, came home at the age of 54. I'm 60 now. I'll be 61 in May. So I lived it and I saw it. Right. I saw dudes get raped. I saw all types of stuff in there, you know. And so I'm not going to sugarcoat and say, oh, that happened in jail. That did not start from jail. The pants off your butt. I can tell you that firsthand knowledge.
So now, what was did you have that choice to make again? The sheep and the wolf?
Upstate, basically you did, but not too much because back then, all the prisoners, they stuck together. I'm going to tell you right now, upstate, they ain't play that. They pull somebody off the line, like we be going to chow, and the police, they'll get off the line. And I'm young, I don't know, I'm like, let me see what these guys going to do. It was 40 of us going to chow. Police say, all right, keep them, we ain't going nowhere. So I said, well, I ain't going nowhere either. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I saw unity back then. I did saw unity, you know. But as years went by, a decade, I saw how prisoners just started fighting against each other. It wasn't too much of that back then, but from what I observed when I came through, you know, everybody stuck together. Dudes tried, but it was some dudes that had tried to teach you how to box, but they looking at your hind part too. Right. You know, it was dudes that was doing that too, that know how to box. Because back then it was basically fighting. There wasn't no cutting or no stab. It was like using the hands. Right. It wasn't none of that. That came along later on, all that slicing and carrying weapons.
Right.
You know, so I saw a lot of unity back then. Police jump somebody, they setting off with a riot.
So was it like the promised land that they was talking about in Brooklyn detention or in Rikers Island, how they would try to encourage you to cop out to go to the promised land, to go upstate? Was it a little bit more relaxed?
Yeah, it was more relaxed, because upstate, everybody was into their bid. You know what I'm saying?
Well, first of all, they had uniforms now, right? Like the inmates, they had clothes. They gave them clothes, right?
Green pants.
Right, they gave them green pants, green
but
shirts.
Back then, dudes had Godfather hats, leather coats. You know, and back in '81, dudes had personal coats inside there. But as years went by, they started phasing that out. You had to just wear an army coat. But back then, I saw dudes with Applejack hats, leather coats, ski bombers. You had a lot of different types of coats. You know, but you had to wear the green pants, and you could wear any color shirt. I even got pictures where I had a gray shirt on. You can't have gray no more. I got pictures right now at my house where I had a black sweat on, you know, but then they phased all that out. Certain colors you can't have now. But back then it was more lax and stuff, you know, and like I said, everybody stuck together.
So now that you came home, you've been home over 6 years,
I've been
right?
home 6 years. This September the 20th will be 7 years I've been home.
So what are your goals?
Right, when I first came home, because I'm gonna keep it real with you, when I was in there, I still was living kind of like a crazy lifestyle. But when I went to my first parole board at the age of 48, I said, man, I might could make it home. Because I thought prison was my destiny. So I started calming down.
Right.
I had been got my GED years ago and stuff. I took a few college courses, but I never really graduated because I kept getting into trouble being in a box, as you know about the box.
Right.
So when I came home, all I had was the GED. And I ain't really had I was in a lot. I made license plates upstairs. I made cabinets. Let me see I worked in the tailor shop in Clinton making shirts and pants. I did all that, but I ain't acquired no real skills.
Right.
So when I came home, I was like, man, what I'm gonna do? So they had a program called Assets.
Okay.
Right? My PO told me about that. So she said, yeah, go through it. So I went through Calm Alert. I'm telling you, Calm Alert was a great program that helped me out a lot. You know, I went through Calm Alert and they introduced me to Assets. So when I went to Assets, they said, what you want to do? They said you could go back to school, be a drug counselor if you want, or you could take culinary. They had different things to do. So I kept saying, man, what I'm going to do? Knowing that I'm older now, I ain't want to do nothing dealing with too much labor. So they had a course where I could get my CDL license, you know, drive buses.
Right.
So I said, man, let me take that. You know, I'm up there, I'm in my 50s. You know, driving a bus should be simple, opening the door, watching out for other drivers. So I went to Ferrari truck driving school. And it took me like, I think maybe 16 or 17 months to complete the whole course because I failed about 2 times. You know, I took the road till I failed, then I had to take it again, but I didn't give up. You know, I didn't give up, then I passed. I took the written test, I failed it 2 times, kept taking, and I passed. So now I got my CDL license.
Is that what you're doing now?
Yeah, I got my CDL
but
license.
But you also mentioned to me, like off camera, that you also do some speaking engagements,
yes,
right?
I do.
You speak about your experience.
Yeah, I speak about my experience. This Monday, I'm going to LaGuardia College. I got to speak to this class. You know, they taking up criminal justice. I got this professor over there, you know, named John Chaney. And then I got Norma Fernandez. They be inviting me to come there to speak because I went through, they used to work at Calm Alert. So they saw my growth and development, and they be calling me. I even spoke at some high schools. I did an interview with CBS, you know. So I've been doing a lot of speaking engagements because I feel I got a story to tell. And what I want to do, I want to try to stop this prison cycle where a lot of the youths in the neighborhood, not just black, Latinos, even whites, I want to try to stop the cycle of everybody thinking it's cool to be out here committing crimes because once you get upstate, all them people you thought was your friends and your girl and everybody's going to leave you. You'll be lucky if somebody stick with you, and I was blessed because during my 32 years, my family stuck by my side. I went on trailer visits with my wife. We divorced now. My kids, my daughters, they was young, 2 and 3. They used to come see me. When they got big, we going to see our dad. They had kids. My grandkids came to see me. So I did what you could call a sweet bid, you know, even though ain't nothing sweet about prison, but I did a relatively smooth bid. I stayed on the visits. I ain't want for nothing. My commissary was fat, you know. So now that I came home, I feel that I got a story to tell. Right. Because in prison, I lived that lifestyle. Starting trouble, stayed in the box, got in knife fights, razor fights, did it all. You know, they even had reports on me. When I used to report to prison, go to prison, they'd come to my cell, the sergeant, and say, yo, Mr. Brodie, I got your files, yo, don't come here and start no trouble. I'm telling you, I got that. I got the paperwork at home right now. So stuff from IG speaking about me, saying that I'm very influential throughout the prison system. I could call shots. You know, little me, I could call shots. One time I went to Sullivan, because I had a little name back then, and I still do now. I went to Sullivan, this guy saw me. I'm in the yard, I just got there. Yo, you Neals? I said, yeah, what's up? Yo, I heard mad stories, but yo, man, I thought you was like 250. A dude told me that. A dude actually told me that. I said, nah, man, I just not playing no games. I'm not saying I can't lose nothing, but I'm not playing no games. And let me get back. I want to tell you one more story about a police officer. I was getting transferred from box to box one day, and I always like to wear nice designer glasses, right? And my glasses had broke. So the police said, you know, they got to look at your car to make sure you're the one getting transferred. Oh, Mr. Brodie, man, where your glasses? I said, man, they broke. Or you got to get another ID card. So now I'm shackled. I'm getting ready to go to Southport Bar. They said, come on, we got to take you to get your picture. So we walking down the hallway, just me and him. We getting up the camera room. So he sit me down. So I see him looking at my ID and my number, and he talking to the other officers, but I ain't paying it no mind. Then he came back to me and said, yo, Mr. Brodie, you got an 81 number. Now this up in the 2000. He said, was it a violation? I said, nah. He said, you been in prison all these decades? I said, yeah. I'm not knowing where he going at with this. Yo, he told me something that still resonates in me now, and I use that in my speeches. Know what he told me? He said, yo, I want to thank guys like you, because it's guys like you that helped me bought my house, put my kids through college. You know what I'm saying? He started saying all types of stuff. And then it didn't resonate on me then, but when I went back to my cell and I sat back and I started thinking about it, I said, he's right. And this is why I go around talking to the youth today, because I'm trying to tell them, yo, listen, we feeding that community upstate.
Thinking about how they survived off of your
because
back.
of us. And
Right.
if you really look at the prison system, if you really take it real good look, it's like a form of slavery, because back in slavery time, they would take the kids from the parents and put them somewhere else. So why are they taking us who live in the 5 boroughs and putting us up north? Why they don't have, I'm not saying, they said, why they don't have no prisons in the 5 boroughs? Answer that. Where our families could get the jobs. You follow what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that's something to think about too. So
I
this is
actually
something
just
that I
posted
do in
about that in
this is
Facebook.
something
You're
I
right.
do when I go around speaking. I done spoke at college, I spoke at high schools.
So now, if they wanted to, if the viewers wanted to get you to book you for a speaking engagement or anything, how would they be able to get in touch with you?
All they gotta do is email me at Alfred Allen, ALLEN, Brodie, BRODIE @gmail.com. And they could get in touch with me if you want me to speak or whatever. I got a tape, but I got some what's some things like the UB.
The USB.
Yeah. I done did stuff on that where my girl she filmed me speaking, you know. So I got a few things out, but I ain't really like expanded how I wanted to, because I'm doing this driving stuff now. But that's really what I want to be doing, because yo, this got to stop, man. They got to stop, man. We help and support the community upstate.
That's
you know?
a fact.
And you wonder why all them politicians is always putting stuff upstate. And also, I want to say one more thing. It's important that you vote. I just voted my first time a few months ago. I never voted in my life. People taking voting for granted. We need to vote, because you can put people in the office that's going to help you and your community. That's what's wrong with a lot of us now. A lot of us hanging out in the streets. Oh man, I'm not voting. My vote don't mean nothing. People died to be able to vote. If you really look at the history of the Voting Rights Act, but a lot of us don't understand it. And I'm not blaming them, because you got to be taught this. I didn't understand this. You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
And now I know. This is why I go out speaking. Hopefully somebody will take heed. Like I said, I could get through to everybody. But as long as I get through to one person, I feel my job is done.
All right. So with that, I'm gonna sign off. All right. I'm gonna sign off the way I always sign off. Said never ever ever be silent. We'll talk back right here on Backtalk with Cripple3030. We would like to thank you for watching Backtalk with Cripple3030. For more information, please go to our website where you can catch our past episodes and our affiliated shows. Thank you.
Bringing you the journeys of the local legends that brought us the classic hits of the 50s, 60s, and 70s, we relive the moments that shaped a generation.
Mary, when's our next show?
Sunday nights at 8 p.m.